Well, hello everyone. It's Tania Gabrielle here, Wealth Astro-Numerologist, and welcome to Star Codes. I've been waiting for this event probably ever since I realized over a year ago what was going to happen on the solstice this year, 2020. And so I'm so thrilled to dedicate this podcast to the big awakening. Saturn and Jupiter entering Aquarius together on the solstice, December 21st at 0 degrees Aquarius. This is a huge moment because it is such an indicator of the onset of the age of Aquarius. So we are going to look very closely at how to use this incredible moment that signifies an acceleration of the awakening that is enveloping our personal lives and humanity and Earth. As we look at Jupiter and Saturn, how their meanings are accelerated in this incredible sign of Aquarius, which is now beginning a 2,000-year new age. And the fact that it's happening right after the only total solar eclipse in 2020, which happened in Sagittarius on December 14th, which is Jupiter's sign. So there's a lot of Jupiterian energy around the solstice. There's Sagittarian energy as well, having just had the eclipse, which will leave at least a 6-month impact, if not longer. And of course, the impact of Saturn moving out of its home sign of Capricorn, where it has been for 3 years, looking at our old structures. And now comes the time of freeing ourselves, extricating ourselves. So conjunctions signify new beginnings, just like new moons do. And this solar eclipse on December 14th in Sagittarius was a new moon, of course, solar eclipse. So we've had a lot of new beginnings energy in a week-long period to end 2020. So it's the ending, in a sense, of the year, but also celebrating what the year represented to begin with, which is a new beginning. So the symbol of the solar eclipse and the solstice, which begins winter in the northern hemisphere and summer in the southern hemisphere, is not lost on anyone. And then the conjunction at 0 degrees, 0 being the 0 point, between Jupiter and Saturn makes it even more powerful. So when there are new beginnings, of course, energy is unpredictable. There's literally no way to turn back and remember, well, how do I deal with this situation? Because the situation is so new. And in this case, there are indicators around so many areas that we've entered a new time of freedom that I will go into once we're in 2021. Because even in the numerology, which always lines up with the astrology, the star codes are always saying the same thing. The meaning is the same. 2021 is also about freedom and a pivot point. So let's move into today's topic. This alignment between Jupiter and Saturn has occurred previously, and it is extremely rare because that was 800 years ago that the conjunction between Jupiter and Saturn happened in Aquarius. 800 years ago was medieval times, and it was the times where people first were able to, in a long time, receive an identity. So we move into the Renaissance, where there was the celebration of the artist, celebration of expression, right? So this is all very potent energy that Aquarius celebrates. And of course, Jupiter is about celebration, gratitude, expansion, and then Saturn makes it real. So Aquarius, the sign we are now going to be acclimating to in a much bigger way, is about openness of free-flowing information, forward-looking looking into the future, distributing information, exploring innovation. It reorders the structures and boundaries that were built under Capricorn. Aquarius, of course, follows Capricorn, and Capricorn is about those very structures in society. And it also governs how we make our mission real. It is about bringing things to fruition, creating stability, creating security. And then Aquarius comes around and asks questions. So this is a big time for not taking things at face value and looking beneath the surface and having a lot of curiosity. So Aquarius is connected to genius. And when you look at the whole disposition of an ingenious person, they're always breaking the rules. They're never politically correct. They never take things at face value, and they go to the beyond. They go on tangents. And so this is the time we're in. And then Jupiter brings incredible wisdom and justice, the law, expansion, gratitude. Jupiter governs divine law. Jupiter governs truth. And then Saturn is the planet of order, of organization, structures of all kind, timing, chronos, regulations, professional accomplishments. So Saturn and Jupiter coming together, no matter what the sign it is bringing divine order. And in Aquarius, this divine order is taking us to another dimension. It is literally about the future. Aquarius governs the future because it governs innovation. So the divine order will be revealed in a way that has never been openly accepted or understood or made visible before now. So the divine order is a huge symbol, bringing heaven, Jupiter in the sign of Aquarius, heaven, air, to earth, Saturn, right? So it's the rising of awareness that's being facilitated through the sign of Aquarius. Now, Aquarius is the water bearer. It's pouring the wisdom of the divine, of heaven, into our human experience. And the water bearer is both human and divine for that reason. So it contains the whole gamut of understanding, being incarnated into this body on earth and maintaining the connection to the divine wisdom. Just as we are both human and divine. And this is the big news. The awakening is understanding that you are both divine and human, not just human. And those who have realized this carry the awakening in their hearts. That is the awakening. Once you've understood that, you can move through the incredible celebration that is starting at this time with the revelation of truth. So being divine, when you are being divine, you express every gesture, every thought, every word, every creation in a way that is beautiful, that is inspired. This is where life is beautiful, where life is seen as a gift. All of life is seen as a gift, and life is seen as sacred, and you see the sacred in everything. Now, Jupiter is aligned with this deep gratitude and sacredness. And Saturn is the realization that you are divine. So this is how the meanings are changing, are shifting with these planets, right? In the past 2,000 years, the way we've looked at the meaning of planets and signs has been really based on deep duality. It's either there's bad and there's good. And now we're combining it and we're looking at actually a much higher vibrational meaning. So if Saturn is not seen as restriction and oppression, then we can shift and look at Saturn as making the divine real, right? Taking responsibility for what you need to do, what you need to work on, because Saturn governs work, to make the divine real. Saturn also shows the timing of the awakening is now. Saturn and Jupiter moving into Aquarius together is that the time is now. So it is the divine in you that feels peace, love, grace, gratitude, beauty in everything, serenity, awe at our amazing universe. That is the divine spark living in you, that ability to be in awe and in gratitude. The human part is meant to help us navigate in a practical way, anything that is practical. But it's not designed to find contentment. It's not designed to find peace, because the human mind can distort peace and beauty and the meaning of love and gratitude. The human mind is mundane, so it's not spiritual. And so it adds a sense of competition or dissatisfaction with how things are at the moment, because it's not aligned with acceptance. And so the human mind often wishes things were different. So now we've arrived at this galactic event, the beginning of the new 2000 year Aquarian age, and we can look more deeply at this. Okay, so note that the pivotal moment happens in 2020 and in the 2000s. And the highest vibration of the number 2 is kindness and awareness and harmony, diplomacy and peace. The highest vibrational meaning of the number 20 is called the awakening. That is the actual meaning of the number 20. So in 2020, it's obviously no coincidence, as always, that we are being ushered into that new 2000 year age. This event also is so important because it is exactly 8 years after 12/21/2012, at the end of the Mayan calendar, beginning of the new 26,000 year cycle. 26,000 reduces to 8. 2 plus 6 plus 0, 0, 0 equals 8. 8 years, 8. 8 is the infinity number. There is so much abundance with this number: leadership, abundance, vision, eternal life, celebrating infinite opportunities, feeling that infinity within you, infinite resources, infinite abilities, right? There is no stopping your growth at this point. So these numbers all are very, very important, and they form a code that we want to understand. All of these events between the astrology and numerology, the whole star code, are creating a symbiosis. It's a synchronistic alignment of frequencies and codes that are irresistible. So even if you wanted to put your head in the sand and not participate in the shift, it wouldn't be possible, because energetically you have to upgrade in order to just be on the planet, right? So as Saturn is leaving Capricorn with Jupiter, and they join hands and move into Aquarius and leave behind all those old paradigms, those building blocks of programming, we are looking and releasing that programming. And the biggest shift that is happening at this time is that we have been programmed to try to fix what we have been perceiving by doing and getting. So basically, our perspective was that we can fix anything by doing something different or by getting something else. And the biggest shift is that this is not how it works. We focused on the wrong thing. Doing and getting is the human way. Being is the divine way. So we've been doing and getting rather than being. So looking within to sense what feels right and good. That is being. You can't get that. You can't do that, like go do this. You just have to breathe and be that. Looking within releases us from the suffering of lack, the discontent. So if you try to make solutions when you're not being the solution, being calm, being at peace, and you're still unhappy and you're searching and doing and getting, before long, whatever solution you got will stop working, right? So it's because the doing and getting is operating on the old programming. And those operating instructions are ingrained. They're automatic. They have a magnetic power. In a way, they are very, very compelling because they're easy, right? They're programmed. So when you go through an awakening, though, a major part of the awakening process, the initiation, is being able to question everything. So we have to be interested in examining our programming and questioning it. The programming forms our foundation. That's the Saturn part, right? The Capricorn part, where these two planets are leaving. That's our foundation. Questioning our very foundation is the Aquarian way, right? So we don't have the security of knowing the consequences because Aquarius focuses on innovation in the future. So the old playbook, the old programming is no longer valid. So we have to literally function on our intuition, which Aquarius is aligned with. It is the 11th sign. The number 11 is the intuitive. And here's the important part. It's one thing to know that you are operating from false programming, but that doesn't mean that the programming stops working. So the knowledge of it doesn't stop it. And so Saturn is coming to the rescue here. Saturn in Aquarius is helping us to disassemble the programming one brick at a time. We are transmuting the foundation, and of course that takes work, right? It's like building a house, a new house, new bricks. So we need to look at the false beliefs that we've had, the old programming. We have to look at it moment by moment. We can't, if we mislay one brick, the foundation isn't secure. So this requires us being aware of thoughts that are running through our mind. And that places your attention where? On the present moment. The Aquarian moment, intuition, can only be done when you are in presence. So instead of listening to that programming voice that's running in your head nonstop, put your full attention on the present moment. And do this by acknowledging and understanding that the voice in your head is separating you from your intuition, from the divine, and it causes suffering. This division, this separation causes suffering. So becoming aware of the programming voice, the stream of thoughts that are endless, right? The program that's running, that requires inner inquiry. So inquiry is connect the dots, like what is streaming through my mind right now until I become convinced that these thoughts are not true, they're not worthy of my energy, they're disrupting the flow of energy, and they're not positive to begin with. Turn your attention away from thinking to being. That's the key. From doing, getting, right? Getting this, doing that, to just being. And disengage your mind and be invested, just completely disengage from your mind. Be invested in presence, because meditation is really the tool. It is instrumental in this process. And meditation can be done thousands of ways. So this is obviously whatever you enjoy in terms of your meditation protocol. Follow that and follow that so it becomes so much part of your life that you are in meditation at all times. And see the Aquarian water bearer as pouring divine light and love, clearing the voice in your head, clearing the programming, flushing it out with the frequencies of love, light, peace, gratitude. See the Aquarius energy as a flow of acceptance and unconditional love. Aquarius connects you to the source through light. Aquarius governs electricity, just like the number 11. 11th sign is Aquarius, governs electricity. So those who have 11s in their personal blueprint at birth, whether it's in their name or their birthday or their astrology chart degree numbers, that number 11 indicates that you have two antennae and you pick up frequency. And so one of the things I tell my clients when they have readings with me or in Numerology Academy, my training program, is if you know of an 11, let them understand they must exercise, because the electricity gets into your body and it needs to go somewhere. If it gets lodged in, it causes separation, division, indecision. This is very important to understand, is to be present and connect to source and allow those two ones in the 11 to come together. And that is really the true meaning of light. Light resonates to the number 11, the word light. Light is to be enlightened by listening closely, inquiring and listening and being in silence. And then enlightenment begins. And it can begin at any time, right? So Aquarius brings this understanding through the integration that all is one. So the water bearer connects heaven and earth. This Aquarian perspective is, of course, changing as we move through life. And just know about Aquarius that it is an air sign, and air signs like to move fast, just like radio frequency, it's instant. So that's why Saturn's presence with Jupiter as the Aquarian age is starting to begin now is important, because Saturn slows down energy so we don't rush, right? Patience is key to sustaining that growth, right? So we don't skip a beat. Now, meditation, of course, helps you to disassemble old programming. And these times that we're in are meant to rapidly accelerate your spiritual evolution. So keep in mind that your programming only presents a problem when you believe the programming. Once you stop believing those old patterns, voices, and thoughts, you have delegated the programming to secondary status. It won't entice you. It'll still be there in the background, but it won't entice you, since it won't be the prime go-to resource for you, automatic, right? So consider that the programming is obviously vast, but thoughts like, I'm not good enough, I can't deal with this today, I'm not okay, these are all false. They're never true. You are okay. You can deal with things. The truth is that you are divine and you are good and life is good, because all life is divine. So anything else is designed to program you otherwise and is not true. You are meant to be happy. You are meant to delight in life, to laugh, to giggle, to be joyful like a happy child. So the meaning of life is not to suffer. The meaning of life is that the belief in suffering has to go first. Stop listening to that voice and know that Aquarius is opposite Leo. And in the house system in astrology, the opposing signs are very connected. And Leo governs the 5th house of being like a child, being childlike. So it is very important in this whole realm to remember how lovely it is, or to watch children who are just playing and have no care in the world. They're in timelessness, just exploring, just inquiring, just learning, running around. That is the key here. So if you go, though, to that voice, that programming voice, you feel like things that are real in your life should not be happening. So those real things are happening, and the voice says, but this shouldn't be happening. And so what can that voice be? It could only be the ego. When reality is seen as not happening, should not be happening, shouldn't be happening, you know that there's a complete disconnect because reality is truth. So that voice can only be the ego. And this is how you can see the ego really is the separation, the destruction, and the enemy of what is true, what is real. And it's not a fun existence to constantly be going against what is real. So if you stop believing these thoughts, you won't be battling life. You won't be experiencing these negative emotions like jealousy and despair and grief and anger and fear of the future. I mean, that's what misery is. So you want to stay present. You want to stay real. You want to be in acceptance. And don't allow that voice that's programmed to go into fears about the future. Don't allow that programming to go wild, because precious energy is wasted thinking about all the possibilities of negative outcomes here and there. Worry. What if? Trust in the divine self. Trust in your inner wisdom. Your divine self takes care of you moment by moment. So all you have to do is stay present moment by moment, and you'll have an inner knowing of what's best for every situation that you encounter. And when you allow the divine to be in charge, your divine self to be in charge, then you're open to seeing what else is there. You're in a constant state of inquiry, of wonder, of openness, of learning. These are the Aquarian themes. It's the what else part. What else is there? That's what Aquarius specializes in. Discovery, innovation, freedom. So Aquarius knows there's always more to discover, which is discovering the truth, right? Which has always been there. And the truth about who you are is the biggest discovery you'll make. The truth that you are divine and human. And it is wonderful news. And it hasn't been really fully available to everyone until this moment, this Aquarian unveiling. The water bearer pouring the wisdom and allowing you to see the divine being you are while living a human experience. So you're coming home to yourself now, and who you are is what sees, what laughs, what enjoys, what creates, what is curious, what is strong, what is courageous. Who you are is what loves life, is in love with living. Who you are is loving and grateful and playful and takes responsibility and is compassionate and connected and at one. And every time you express who you are, you open the gateway to the Great Awakening. Every time. So just imagine the role you play as a divine being of light. So feel that goodness now. Feel the lightheartedness. Be joyful. Take your divine self seriously. These are all Jupiter, Saturn themes that are being activated at this time. And Jupiter and Saturn enter Aquarius on December 17th and 19th, and then join together on the 21st. So we have this incredible period of time now as we move towards the end of the year to embrace all these beautiful qualities in the most high vibrational way. Jupiter and Saturn's movement into 0 degrees Aquarius, into that conjunction, is a celebration of our freedom. You are setting yourself free first. Don't look to the outside to do that. Look within. That is the whole point of Aquarius, is your inner discoverer, your inner adventurer, your inner genius, seeking that freedom to explore anything. You see, that is what divine is. That is what God is. God seeks to express himself in every way possible, and this is what you are meant to do as a divine being of light. So freedom is the first key to that ability to explore who you are. And exploration is one of the key words of the Aquarian age. So set yourself free by exploring and understanding who you are at soul level. And one way to do that is to know your own star code. You can discover your gifts, your purpose, your destiny in your birthday code, in your birth name code, and in the degree numbers in your astrology. So I've created a free masterclass for you to get you started on that incredible journey. Just go to starcodeclass.com, enjoy the process of your discovery, and discover too the soul code of your friends and family and colleagues, which will help you to stay in balance when you are relating to them, because the understanding of other people through their soul code brings compassion. So enjoy that free masterclass at starcodeclass.com. Have an absolutely wonderful solstice celebration. Allow the light and love of this moment to flood your heart and uplift you and set you free so you can embrace your divine self. So here's to your amazing solstice. Lots of love. And I will see you in next week's Star Codes podcast.